everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this particular video, we'll understand the two-layer architecture of MCP, or you can simply call it as the layers in MCP. So without further delay, let's start. So this is the two-layer architecture of MCP. The inner layer is called as data layer and the outer layer is called as transport layer. Data layer is concerned about what the message means, and the transport layer is concerned about how the message travels. Now, message here is nothing but data, or I would say some information. It can be a user query, it can be the response from the server. The data is always concerned about what the message means, and the transport is always concerned about how the message travels. So, I hope a brief overview is clear to you all. You can simply think of it like language and delivery. English is the language here, WhatsApp or email is the delivery channel. So now in detail, let's have a look at the layers one by one, starting off with the data layer. So in short, I would say that data layer is the heart of the entire MCP. It simply defines the rules, message formats, and capabilities that the clients and servers understand. So it takes care of the rules, like for example the message formats, the definitions of the capability, and the protocol rules. Everything is taken care in here. And most important thing is that this data layer is transport agnostic, which means that this particular layer does not care whether the message are sent using http, stdio, or anything else. It doesn't care about the way in which it is sent. It is just concerned about what that particular definition means. So this is how the data layer architecture flows. Here the client simply takes the message from the host. It defines that particular thing according to the protocol rules. Capabilities are discovered, and finally it reaches to that particular server. So I hope this data layer logic is clear to you all. See how the messaging is taken care of. So, as already discussed in the previous video, messages in MCP are in strict format of JSON RPC 2.2. So here this is the communication standard. All the communication in MCP is done using the JSON RPC 2.2, which is a structured way of sending commands and responses. Let's break it down. In simple terms, it contains some parameters, like for example method. It defines what action to be performed according to the user query. Second is parameters, like for example input data or any other information. Third, it can also have an ID, like just to track the request and responses. Here the meaning of request is that client sends and it expects some response. Next we have responses, which means that server replies with result or error. Always remember that response will always be given, even if it is unsuccessful or successful. Next, we have notifications also, which is a special parameter which we get in JSON RPC, that these notifications are one-way messages. So basically, here it keeps a track, just to have track, it sends certain notifications continuously if a particular task is being executed, or if there is some error or there is success. Everything is sent with the help of this. Now data layer also contains lifecycle management. It follows certain rules. So here what it tells is, in short, that MCP is not just about sending messages, it also manages the entire lifecycle of a connection. Now there are certain steps. Here you can see four steps are there: initialization, negotiation, then operation, and then termination. So let's see one by one. Initialization covers the client and server connection. So basically, whenever the host gives some kind of query to be executed, the client takes that and it handshakes it with the server. It handshakes a connection with the server. So this initialization step of handshaking is also done. Next, we have negotiation. So here the capability exchange and agreement takes place. So basically, the client will discover what capabilities all the servers has, and according to the user query which capability is needed. So this negotiation takes place in here. Next comes the operation. Now over here, the message exchange takes place. The actual message exchange takes place. Like the client provides its entire structured message to the server, and the server in return can give its response in a structured way to the client back. Next, there is a termination phase wherein all the session gets cleaned. So basically, a shutdown takes place in here. So you can think entire thing as like opening, using, or closing a phone call. So I hope this thing is clear. Now let's have a look at some server side features. Now this is very important because unless you don't know what server actually means, or what actually it is used for, you won't be able to understand the architecture of you won't be able to understand the layered architecture of MCP. So server, this particular thing is already covered in brief in the previous video if you remember. Let's just have a look at it in detail in this particular video. So first thing that the server has is the tools. So basically you can think tools as like capability, different tasks that particular server can perform. So tools are the action the server can perform, like for example searching operations, database queries, API integrations, or custom functions. In the previous video I already have given you an example of calculator MCP server, the web API, the web search MCP server, or maybe any other, like for example archive search, or database MCP server, wherein all the different tasks related to that particular operation is being defined. So these are the capabilities a server has. Next, server also comprises of the resources. Now resources are static contextual information. It can be dynamic also, but mostly it will be static. Then there are certain configuration data or state management or external sources. All these things, for example files, records, metadata, everything is stored in this resources of server. Next we have prompt section in server. So basically these are nothing but interaction templates, reusable templates. It is especially useful with LLMs. So basically with the help of LLM, proper set of tools can be discovered from a server itself. So basically let's say there are 100 tools in a server. So if a particular prompt is defined just to discover which tool is actually going to be accurate for the user query, so for that purpose this will be useful. So I hope the features of the server are clear to you all. Next we have some client side features. As you know, MCP is bidirectional. The server can also ask the client to do certain things. So here comes the features of client, where it can help the server if server asks for anything. For example, the server might ask the client itself to call an LLM. The server might ask the user for input again, or there might be a chance that client needs to send some logs or feedbacks. So in this particular case, these features are actually the client is capable of. So basically client can simply send any of this to the server back if server asks for it. So these particular client features make the entire architecture of MCP interactive, not just request and response. So I hope these features of client is clear to you all. Now let's have a look at the utility features. So here MCP also supports certain utility features that are very much crucial in production systems. So one of them is real-time notifications. So basically it gives instant event alerts, alarms, or certain messages, or continuous message delivery, just to have entire track of what is being done and what is going on. Next is the progress tracking. So let's say there is a very long task, for example the analysis of a huge data lake. Then in that case this particular progress tracking will help. It will be tracking the entire progress updates for longer tasks, like for example percentage completions, like to what extent that particular task has got completed, 10%, 20%, or so on. And there also has to be certain feature, like for example if there is a long task and the task is being initiated by mistakenly, then there has to be a feature of canceling that particular task. So this progress tracking utility feature will be helpful for that. Cancellation support is there in here. So this is the extra features that MCP serves. So I hope this thing is also clear. So now I hope you have understood the entire data layer of MCP. Seen almost everything, we have covered everything about it. Now let's move on to the next layer of MCP, that is the transport layer, which is again a crucial concept. So you can think transport layer as a communication channel. So as already said, this is the outer layer of MCP. The key point in here is that this particular layer only moves the messages. It does not change their meaning or so. The transport layer is like the road. The data layer is the message on the vehicle. So I hope this helps you to get a brief about transport layer. Now let's have a look at the transport layer responsibilities. The transport layer handles all the low level communication concerns like channel establishment, message framing, authentication, transport abstraction. Because of this particular abstraction, the MCP can support new transports in the future without changing the protocol. So this is what makes it unique and robust. So there are certain supported transport mechanisms in this particular transport layer. One of them is stdio, that is standard input output, and the next is streamable http. So this is http plus the server sent events, that is sse. Let's have a look at both of these one by one. So first is the standard input output transport. So stdio transport uses the standard input and output. Now, why it is useful? Because it can get you an access of the local tools which are locally available on the same machine wherever the client is running. Like, let's say I have a file wherein my client.py code is present, wherein my LLM is present, okay, everything, uh, wherever it calls certain MCP servers, okay, that particular definition is present. On the same local machine, I have in another directory my calculator server working. My calculator server of MCP which is running on the same local machine, my calculator.py, which is calculator server, that particular file is running in which all the tools and tasks are defined for that particular server. So now, even if both of them are present on the same local machine, I can simply get an access of that calculator MCP server and I can use it in my client file. I can ask the LLM to get that particular server access and perform certain operations on the user query. So this is how it is useful. It is CLI based. It is also called as CLI based servers. Here there is no network overhead and this is very much fast since there is no network latency. Also, to be very honest, it is the most secure one because here, since no network is involved, there is no risk of altering any messages in the middle. So that is why this is the secured one. So I hope this transport is clear. Now next we have the streamable HTTP transport, which is very famous and widely used concept. So previously I said you that if you have certain MCP servers running on your local machine, you can simply access it without any network access. But let's say you have certain MCP servers which are not running on your local machines, it is running on some other server, on some other machine, or let's say on the internet, and you need to access that. So stdio won't help you in that. In that particular case, this particular transport will be helpful, that is streamable http. So this transport is designed for remote and cloud based MCP servers. So the flow is like client sends some JSON RPC via HTTP post request or certain other methods. The server will stream the response using SSE, that is server sent events. Here the continuous streaming is done from server to client just for having progress tracks and all those stuffs. And here for the security purpose, authentications are used. Like for example, API keys, bearer tokens, or OAuth support. So, just for establishing the secured communication, this logic of authentication is practiced. So, I hope this particular mode of transport of MCP is clear to you all. Again, let me tell you, this is lesser secure than the STDIO. There are a lot of conferences that are going on to make this particular transport most secure and reliable. But and obviously in future there will be certain methods through which this will also get very much secured. So I hope this particular transport mechanism is clear. Now we have covered both data layer and transport layer and all its supporting information. I hope you have understood that. Now let's have a look at a summary of it. What data layer and transport layer actually does. So data layers defines meaning, the transport layer defines the movement, that is the delivery of that particular message. There are certain protocols in which the data has to be there. Here there is a physical transport of that particular semantics. Next we have a message content in here, we have a message packaging in transport layer. There is a there is a saying that data layer is concerned about what to communicate and transport layer is concerned about how to communicate. Again, let me repeat this, that you can think it of as a language versus delivery method. Language, it can be English, that comes in the data layer, and the communication method, like for example email or WhatsApp, that comes under the transport layer. So I hope this particular analogy is clear to you all. The key takeaway from all this, whatever we have learned, is MCP works because it cleanly separates what is said and how it is sent. This makes the model context protocol flexible, scalable, and future proof. So it is a very robust mechanism, and a lot of thought process is applied to make this particular entire protocol. So I hope you are now understanding the beauty of MCP. And if you guys have any single doubt, you can put it in the comment section, or if you have any suggestions, I would be happy to see that. If you like this particular video, please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also hit the bell icon and don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Please join me on Telegram. Thanks for watching. Have a good day ahead.